how's it going everyone? This is the first of a set of videos that I'm going to do, which I'm going to show and tell my CD collection, give a bit of information maybe on where I got them from, and rate the CDs as well. I'm going to go through them in alphabetical order. So starting off with the A's, and the first band is going to be AC/DC, band formed in the early 70s in Australia, one of the most famous bands in the world. Quite a large discography. I've got most of their studio albums, I think, if not all, most of their albums, to be honest with you. Starting off, first one is High Voltage, which was their first international album, but made from their two first Australian albums, which were High Voltage and TNT. Most of it's from TNT, only I think 2 songs from High Voltage in itself. I've got 2 copies of this one. I've got the original one, which I got, which is the first issue. Pretty standard, decent. And I've also got the remaster, which they remastered all their CDs. They sound okay. There's a bit of loudness wars going on with them. They remastered them pretty loud, so but they're nice packaging. Come with a digipack and nice booklet, gives you a bit of the history of the album, photos, etc, etc. I really like this album, even though it's their first one. I think they started as they meant to go on, and yeah, a good 7 or 8 out of 10. Long way to the top if you want a rock and roll singer. The Jack, TNT, She's Got Balls, High Voltage, Live Wire, classic tracks all the way through. If you like AC/DC, you need this album. Really good, really good. They followed that up with Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. This once again is the remastered version. I've only got 1 copy of this. I really like this album. A lot of people don't necessarily give it the credit that I think it's due, but it's got that really dirty sound to it. Really, you know, a really good album. Starts off with the title track. It's got Ride On, Big Balls, Rocker, Love at First Feel, Ain't No Fun Waiting Around to Be a Millionaire, which is quite a long track. Ride On, which is like a bluesy, slower one. Squealer, which I think is a really underrated track to finish it off. It's a real kick-ass song. Angus goes pretty mental at the end of it. Once again, you've got the booklet. That's the original cover from the original version in Australia. I really like the original, this one though. I think that's, you know, always stuck with me. I remember first seeing that back in the day and thinking of how cool a cover it was. Just really kind of tells you what the music's all about. Sleazy motel, random people with, like, you can't see the dog on there with the black over his eyes, but you know, whatever. Top album. I'd rate that once again 7 or 8 out of 10. All of the Bon Scott era for me, I think, is my favourite era of AC/DC. I think he's just really clever, the way, you know, his lyrics and what have you, even though kind of basic, but still good. Great voice, great live. Next album, Let There Be Rock. Probably my favourite AC/DC album, if I'm being honest. That's the back cover there. I remember I used to tape stuff when I was a kid of like a friend of mine. He was a couple of years older than me, but kind of got me into metal and rock. His favourite band were AC/DC. I remember having this on tape and listening to it as a kid and just thinking, that is such a good album, man. Just such a good album. Just every song on it is a banger. Go Down, Dog Eat Dog, obviously the title track, Let There Be Rock, Bad Boy Boogie, Problem Child, Overdose, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Whole Lot of Rosie. When this original vinyl version of this, when it originally came out, the one that I had on tape was had Crapsody in blue on it as well, which for some reason they took off, and I don't really know why. They put Problem Child on it instead, which is obviously on Dirty Deeds. And Rhapsody in Blue, you can get it on Backtracks, which I've got to show you later, but yeah, it kind of made it a better album if you want my honest truth. But yeah, just the original version of this one. I haven't got the remaster. I'll probably pick that up at some key point. But yeah, a strong album. Well, I think it's their best, quite honestly. Just a really raw sound, really good. Next one I've got is Powerage, however you want to say it. It's the back cover there. This was the last Bon Scott album that I actually got. It's got the Classic Atlantic CD. But yeah, a really good album. Lots of really good, cool stuff on it. Rock and Roll Damnation, Sin City, Riff Raff, Down Payment Blues, Give Me a Bullet. Just start to finish. Just a really, really good album. Probably the last of their like really raw sounding albums, I think. The last of the sort of classic era that was, you know, had that real raw before Mutt Lange got involved. Kind of changed the band to a degree, so that Laurie's outside. But yeah, superb album anyway, really, really good. Can't fault it. Let There Be Rock, by the way, I would rank that at least a 9, maybe a 10. This one, 7 or 8 once again. Just strong, nothing wrong with it. Next in the discography came the If You Want Blood, You Got It album, which is one of my favourite live albums of all time. Every version of the tracks that are on here are like really, really good. Kind of got this from eBay and it didn't have the book with it, which I was a little bit disappointed about, so maybe I'll upgrade that and get that since it's the remastered version. Still sounds really good. Starts off with Riff Raff, probably the best version of that. Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Bad Boy Boogie, The Jack with different lyrics on it. It's just honestly just a really, really good live album. Sounds so good. Definitely recommend that. If you've got no other Bon Scott AC/DC albums, get that one. It's live, but superb. Easy 9 out of 10 for that one. Easy. And then the last Bon Scott album, which I've just got the original version of, Highway to Hell. A lot of people love this album. I do really like it. It's not my favourite of the Bon Scotts. I think they've got that Mutt Lange polish on it, which gives you a hint of where they were going to go next. But still, a really, really good album. Obviously, Highway to Hell, everyone knows. Girls Got Rhythm, really good, yeah, really good tune. Walk All Over You, Touch Too Much, probably the best song on the album. Yeah, it's a good solid album. But for me, of the Bon Scott albums, probably you get hate for this, but it's probably my least favourite. Not to say that it's bad, but it's my least favourite. But it is really good. You can't, yeah, there's nothing bad to say about it, but 7 out of 10, I guess. Yeah, a good one. Then we go on to Back in Black, which everyone knows, probably their most famous album, certainly their best-selling album, one of the best-selling albums of all time. This is like a double gatefold, remastered version. It's got the book. With, you know, general pictures, etc. And a biography of it. Now, I did used to love this album. I still think it's obviously, you know, a masterpiece and what have you, but it's been overplayed, man. Like, I've overplayed it. Everyone's overplayed it. Everyone knows it. Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill. Then From 11 to You, Back in Black, obviously Shook Me All Night Long, which I never need to hear again. Have a Drink on Me. Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution is probably the best track for me. It's an excellent album, what can I say, but I never need to hear it again, if I'm being honest. It's, you know, it's great, but it's got to be an 8 out of 10 for me. But yeah, Brian Johnson, obviously it's his first album with them, and he does sing his little heart out on that. It's probably one of his better vocal performances. So yeah, strong album. I'm sure you got it, everyone's got it. certainly as everyone's heard it. Next one, the remastered version of For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. This is, I would say, my favourite Brian Johnson album. Even though it's been played a lot, I can still, I don't know, it's got a bit more metal about it, I think, personally. I think the songs on it are, yeah, sort of stand up a bit more. They're a bit more, the title track, Put the Finger on You, Let's Get It Up's a great track, Inject with Venom, great track. Evil Walks is probably one of my favourites on here. COD, yeah, I mean, iconic. You know, they still play the title track at every gig they do. Yeah, it's a great album. I'd say my favourite, I think, of the Brian Johnson era. Although I do prefer, as I said, the Bon Scott era. I think it is a better. You know, I think they were just kind of just better. But still, 8 or 9 out of 10 for that. Let's call it 8.5. Why not? But yeah, good album. Flick of the Switch is next. This is kind of a remaster, but it's not the gatefold remaster, the newest remasters they did. People shit on this album, man, but it's a good one, man. Like heavy, yeah, bit back to basics. Obviously they got rid of Mutt Lange by now, so they were kind of, you know, let's get back a bit heavier. Really good album. Rise in Power, Start Off, great track. House on Fire, Flick of the Switch is just a crazy good track. Never Shake Down, great track. Guns for Hire, great track. Bedlam in Belgium, Badlands is a really like groovy, just a banger, man. Yeah, if you've not heard it and you've heard the shit and you think, nah, do you know what, nah, it's a really good album, man. Heavy, one of their most metal albums, I would say. Just so, yeah, 8 out of 10. Probably one of my, you know, other favourite Brian Johnson albums. They brought out, I think, 74 Jailbreak next. This is the remastered one. Bit of an EP, really. Stuff that, you know, early stuff that didn't get put on their first albums. The track Jailbreak speaks for itself. I'm sure you've heard that. It's a great track. Show Business is a cool one. Soul Stripper, Babe Please Don't Go, You Could Probably Live Without. It's worth having for your collection, but you know, if you haven't got it, don't, you know, break your neck trying to get it, because, you know, it's okay. It's only got 5 tracks on it. But yeah, not bad. Probably like 6 out of 10 for that one. It's alright. Next, the remastered Fly on the Wall. I remember getting this on vinyl when I was a kid, man. I was probably like, I don't know, 12, 13. And it was probably the first sort of new AC/DC album when it came out. It was like, oh, you know, it's their new album. And the production on it sucks, man. Well, it kind of does and it doesn't. Brian Johnson's voice sounds horrible on a lot of the tracks. The title track, Fly on the Wall, when it first came on, I thought, quite honestly, it was taking the piss. And Shake Your Foundations is not really much better. Danger, you can hear, it's just kind of, you can hear his voice, but it's like low in the mix. It's got a load of echo on it, and it kind of does take away from it quite a bit, I think. But saying that, I've listened to it recently, and it's a good album, man. The title track, Fly on the Wall, really heavy, really good. Shake Your Foundations, great. Danger's great. Sink the Pink's great. Stand Up's really cool. Yeah, Back in Business is cool. Hell or High Water. It's honestly, once again, it's an album that kind of gets shat on quite a lot. But I think that is mainly because of like the production on his voice. But the guitars are heavy, man. They really, you know, sound good. The drums are really heavy. It's probably the last really good album, I maybe say. Yeah, they've done some good stuff since then, but this is the last one that's like, you good album. Maybe 7.5, 8 out of 10. Could be higher if it was, you know, produced better, but still, it's a good album. I kind of like the cover as well. I like, you know, it can't be a wood effect, I say. Next one I've got is Who Made Who. I remember when this came out, I had the 12-inch vinyl single of it, and honestly it's just a compilation album, to be honest with you, from the Maximum Overdrive soundtrack. The actual track Who Made Who is okay, it's alright, and then it's just a bunch of other stuff, like kind of almost the greatest hits, but not really. It's got a couple of instrumental tracks on it, DT and Chase the Ace. But yeah, it's got things like Sink the Pink on it, Hell's Bells, Shake Your Foundation, so a couple of tracks from Fly on the Wall, Shook Me All Night Long, which they did the video for at the time. For those about to rock, we salute you. Hell's, you know, I said that already. Ride On. You don't need it in your life, but you know, if you've only got one album and this is it, then okay, that's okay. You know, you can't really knock any of the songs on it. So for that reason, you've got to give it a 7.5. It's their only greatest hits. You really think, oh, apart from Iron Man as well, but I haven't even got that. But whatever. Next one is Blow Up Your Video, and this is kind of when they start to get a little bit shit. I remember this came out, and people at school that didn't really like metal kind of liked it, and that kind of did it for me. I was not overly impressed with that, but still, it's an okay album, man. Starts off well with Heat Seeker. Is a good track. That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll. That's a good track. Yeah, struggling after that, man. Yeah, it's not great. It's really not that good. It's kind of poppy commercial. It's not really poppy commercial, but it's not a fantastic album, man. This one I would rate as maybe a 6, and that's probably being fairly generous. Kiss the Dynamite's okay. Nick of Time, I don't know, man. It just didn't really sit well with me with this one when it came out. It's okay. It's AC/DC. So the first 2 tracks kind of make it worth getting if you can get it for a couple of bucks. You know. Razor's Edge is the next one. Another album that I didn't really like. I remember I had this on tape when it came out, and I kind of gave them another go after, you know, the disappointment, which I thought was Blow Up Your Video. Thunderstruck came out, and obviously that was, you know, a good track, but you know, it's not. People really like this album. They're like, oh yeah, it's a great comeback from AC/DC. Whoa. But for me, I just don't really like it, man. Fire Guns is okay. Money Talks, I don't like that at all. Razor's Edge is tedious. Mr. Christmas is like whatever. Rock Your Heart Out, I can't stand that. Are You Ready is okay. I don't like that sort of Who All Need It kind of bit in it. The rest of the song's okay. It's not a great album, man. 6 out of 10 at best. People like it. If you like it, great. It's not for me, man. It's not one that I'll go to. Next one is the live one. This is the remastered version. It's the 2 CD collector's edition. It's alright. It's decent. It's a good, you know, nice package. 2 discs of, you know, a lot of their greatest hits, with Brian Johnson obviously doing them. There's stuff from the Razor's Edge, because I think this was the tour that this is from. So you have got your Money Talks, and you have got the Razor's Edge, and you got your Fire Your Guns, etc. Are You Ready? You know, meh. But you know, it's good. It's a good album, good sounding album. Not as good as If You Want Blood. If you want a live AC/DC album, get If You Want Blood. This one is decent enough. But there's a lot of their latter day stuff which you could probably live without. But yeah, it's decent, you know, 7 out of 10, I guess. It's a nice package though. Everyone likes the 2 disc edition with a gatefold and a book. It's not to like. Then they came back with Ball Breaker, and this is a bit of an improvement. Rick Rubin produces this one. Obviously he's a massive AC/DC fan, so it was his, like, you know, life's dream to produce an AC/DC album, and he's done okay with it. He could have done better, to be honest. This is the back cover. Yeah, Hard as a Rock, good track to start off with. Cover You in Oil kind of continues at a similar sort of pace. You've got Boogeyman, Burning the Lights, kind of good. Ball Breaker, the title track's decent enough, but they were kind of in the decline by this time, I think, and well into the decline. But it's better than the last two albums, I will say that, but it's still kind of AC/DC by numbers, and there's a bit of a pattern with their latter albums, I think, where they have like a few decent tracks and then the rest of it's kind of filler and not particularly wonderful. 6.5, 7 out of 10 for that one. It's okay. Then you've got Stiff Upper Lip, which I do like. I was listening to this today, actually. This is probably the better one of their latter day. Well, I say latter day, but remastered edition. Title track's great. Yeah, House of Jazz is good. Meltdown's pretty decent. But yeah, not a bad album, that one. Better than Ball Breaker, better than Razor's Edge, way better than Burpee Video. Nice one. Last album they did for quite a while as well. Probably could have left it there, if I'm being honest, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, 7 out of 10, steady. A few really good tracks on it, not loads, but it's a bit of an improvement on the last one. Then they came back years later with Black Ice. This is some sort of deluxe edition, which is like a book, which I do like. The packaging, that is, the album's kind of not great. I think the word bloated springs to mind. This one's got 15 tracks on it, and yeah, not really that many of them are too good. That's the back cover, and if you see that, it's a bit, you know. Rock and Roll Train's alright, Skies on Fire's alright, War Machine. She Likes Rock and Roll. Yeah, whatever, struggling with that. It's not the best album, really not that great. I say bloated to a massive degree. So yeah, Black Ice. Gonna have to give it like 5 out of 10 at best. It's really not that good an album. Then they came out with Rock or Bust. This is the lenticular cover, so it goes like that. Yeah, it's, you know, a bit better than Black Ice, quite honestly, but not much. There's less tracks on it, so there's less to have to sit through, I guess. Rock or Bust, great, good track. Sweet Candy's alright. Dogs of War, it's not too bad. But it's another 6 out of 10 album for me. I'd say the packaging's quite nice. But yeah, far from their glory days. And then that brings us up to the current day, which is Power Up, which is their most recent album. And honestly, this one's pretty good. This is probably the best album since Fly on the Wall. The inside. Realise, good track. Ejection, good track. Shot in the Dark, good track. Witch's Spell, my favourite track on the album. Really, really good track as well. Money Shots, good one. Yeah, Power Up, good album, like it. Yeah, a bit of a return to form. Not too sure where they pulled this one out of, but it's, yeah, less. It's more AC/DC. It's just got more of that boogie, hard rock, you know, the kind of thing that, you know, you like from an AC/DC album. I like anyway. It's a bit more old school, so yeah, decent. A good. If this is their last album, then they've redeemed themselves a bit. You know, they want to say one of my favourite bands, and they've not been great for a fair few years, but this one worth getting, definitely. Pick it up fairly cheaply nowadays as well. So I rate this one 7.5. I think that's fair. I've got a couple of, I've got this one as well. This is the Backtracks, which is a really nice package. Got a nice book in with it as well. It's basically 2 CDs, studio rarities, live rarities, and then you've also got a DVD which is Family Jewels Disc 3. So that's got like the videos on it for that weren't on the original Family Jewels. So you got things like Big Gun and the stuff from Ball Breaker, Stiff Upper Lip, and you've got like Rock and Roll Train from Black Ice, so it doesn't go up to Rock or Bust, and it's got some bonus videos, some live stuff as well. So yeah, a good package. Studio rarities as well, so some old stuff from like Bon Scott. He's got Big Gun as well, Cyberspace stuff. That Big Gun's kind of a decent track as well. And then live stuff with Bon and Brian Johnson as well. But yeah, if you can pick this one up, it's getting a bit harder to get hold of these days, but it's worth getting and it looks nice. Also, I've got the original DVD, Family Jewels, which is two DVDs. DVD 1 is all the Bon Scott stuff, and DVD 2 is the Brian Johnson era, which is, yeah, it's worth getting. The Bon Scott stuff's really good. Brian Johnson stuff starts off a bit and then the videos kind of get a bit better. You've got all the fly on the wall videos, which are comical, you know, worth watching. A bunch of those. And I've also got like the Let There Be Rock DVD. Comes in a slipcase, and that's like from the Highway to Hell tour, so it's pretty much the last tour that Bon Scott did. And yeah, good. Landmark AC/DC concert film, but yeah, worth watching. All the classic stuff from the Bon Scott era live, which is excellent. Cool, nice. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first video. Probably be going on to Aerosmith next. The A's. I've got like Alice in Chains, Anthrax, Accept, things like that to crack on with. So if you like that, then I hope you like the video. Press like, subscribe to be informed when the next video comes up. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. You take care. Take it steady. Bye.